You were the one they pointed to, the example, the kid who finished early, raised their hand before the teacher finished the question, and somehow always knew the right answer. People smiled when they said your name. That felt like love. And for a while, maybe it was. But here's what nobody told you. That version of you, the one everyone was so proud of, you've been trying to keep her alive ever since, and it's exhausting you in ways that you don't even have words for yet. Have you ever noticed that you can't start something unless you're already sure you'll do it well? Not just okay, well. Like there's a voice in the back of your head that watches you pick up a pen and whispers, "This better be worth something." And if you're not sure it will be, you just don't start. You scroll instead. You reorganize your desk. You open a tab and close it. You write the first sentence in your head 17 times and delete all of them before typing a single word. That's not laziness. But you've been calling it that for years, haven't you? And the more you call it laziness, the heavier it feels. Because laziness sounds like a flaw, something broken, something you should have fixed by now. But what if nothing about this is broken? What if this is actually something learned? This is something I want you to understand because most people never name it, and that's exactly why it keeps winning. What you're dealing with has a name. I call it the performer's freeze. It's what happens when your brain was trained from a very young age to link your worth with your output, not your effort, not your presence, your performance. And when performance becomes identity, the fear of a bad performance becomes the fear of disappearing entirely. Think about that for a second. You weren't just a smart kid. You were the smart kid. Which means every gold star, every proud parent, every teacher who said, "I knew you'd get it," all of it was quietly teaching you the same lesson. You are only as lovable as your last achievement. Not directly, not in a way anyone would notice, but consistently enough that your brain started treating it like a rule. Psychologist Carol Dweck found something similar in her research. Children who were praised for being smart rather than for their effort became more likely to avoid challenges over time, not because they lacked ability, but because failure started to feel like a threat to who they were. And that's where this pattern really begins. Safe, that's the word most people miss. Because this was never just about being impressive, it was about being safe. You learned very early that when you performed, people stayed. They smiled. The room felt warm. There was approval. There was certainty. And when you didn't, or even when you were just average, something shifted. Subtly, quietly. A different tone, a smaller reaction. Nothing dramatic, just enough to teach you that ordinary didn't feel the same. So you adapted. You stopped being ordinary. You kept going, kept achieving, kept proving. And somewhere along the way, the proving never stopped, even when the classroom did. Now you're older. The tests are different. Deadlines, relationships, life decisions. But the pattern is identical. You either go all in or you don't go at all. There's no middle space. Either you're overworking, overthinking, pushing yourself past your limits, or you're staring at something simple, unable to begin. And you don't understand why. So you label it. Laziness, procrastination, lack of discipline. You search for answers at 1 a.m., hoping something will explain why your brain works like this. But the answer is older than that. Here's the analogy that might finally make this click. Imagine a car that was only ever driven at full speed. Never idled, never coasted, just full throttle, every single time. That engine isn't broken. It just never learned that other speeds exist. Your nervous system is that engine, and burnout isn't the car dying. It's the car finally, desperately refusing to go full throttle one more time. This is what gifted child burnout actually is. Not laziness, not failure, not losing your intelligence. It's your mind staging a quiet rebellion against a performance it was never meant to maintain forever. And here's where the stakes get real. Because if you don't see this pattern, it keeps repeating. You keep swinging between extremes, overdrive and shutdown. You start things, but abandon them right before they matter. Not because you don't care, Because finishing means being seen, and being seen still feels like being judged. You become good at impressing people, but uncomfortable just being with them. You start to feel like your place in people's lives depends on what you do, not who you are. The cost isn't just productivity. It's intimacy. It's rest. It's the ability to sit somewhere and feel like you belong there without having to earn it. And slowly, without realizing it, you start shrinking your life. You lower your expectations. You tell yourself you're being realistic. But underneath that, there's something else. A quiet awareness that you didn't stop caring. You just got tired of caring in a way that kept hurting you. So here's the realization I want you to sit with. The gifted child didn't disappear. You didn't lose your intelligence. You didn't lose your ability. You didn't lose your potential. What happened is simpler than that. You got so used to performing that you forgot you were allowed to exist without it. Performing became natural, and existing started to feel like failure, like you were wasting something, like you were letting people down even when no one was asking anything from you anymore. But here's the truth. No one is watching anymore. The classroom is gone. The teacher isn't grading you. That constant evaluation you feel, it's internal now, and it's outdated. You don't have to earn your place anymore. You already have one. The version of you that struggles, that doesn't know the answer yet, that takes time, that starts imperfectly, that version isn't a disappointment. That version of you is the one who actually gets to live. Because as long as you're performing, you're surviving. But the moment you allow yourself to be imperfect, to try without certainty, to exist without proving, that's the moment you start living again. And the longer you avoid that, the longer you stay stuck protecting a version of yourself that's quietly exhausting you. If this felt like something you've been carrying for a long time, drop one word in the comments. Subscribe if this resonated. See you in the next one.